All right, this one is going to be about modes, and I'm going to show you a couple of different ways to conceive of modes, but I'll let the textbook deal with why we have modes and what they all mean. So these are the old church modes that eventually became the major and minor scales, and the other ones just kind of drifted into non-use until maybe jazz came along. So the easiest way to conceive of them is just to go from a starting note on all the white keys. So if you go from C to C, that is what we know as the C major scale, but it used to be called the Ionian mode. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, the Ionian mode. And because you know by now, God willing and the creek don't rise, how to create a major scale, you would be able to create an Ionian mode on any scale degree because it just uses the same whole steps and half steps as C major. The next one is the Dorian mode. D for Dorian. That's easy to remember. D for Dorian. And that's D to D with no sharps or flats. Now, it helps some people to think about how to remember what it is if you have to transpose it. So it's like a minor scale with a raised fourth instead of D minor with a B flat. Raised sixth, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of F major, and that would be a fourth in F major, but it's really a sixth in D minor, natural form of the D minor scale. So if you wanted to create one somewhere else, you say, well, it's just a minor scale with a raised sixth. So let's try doing that on G. If we go G, A, B flat, because G is the relative minor of B flat major, G, A, B flat, C, pretend there's a D, do I have any clear ones? Yeah. D, E, E natural, F, and G. G, A, B flat, C, D natural, D, E natural, F, G. So there's your sixth note, and it's not an E flat, it's an E natural. That would be G Dorian. That would be Dorian mode on G. We could try a harder one, but I'm getting frightened. So let's move on. Now, E to E is the Phrygian mode, Phrygian. E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, Phrygian mode. That is a minor scale with a lowered second. Instead of F sharp, it's F. So if we needed to transpose it to, well, we'll just transpose it to G. So it would be G, A flat, B flat, C, D, we're going to miss an E because of it being used up there, E flat, F, G. G, A flat instead of A because the second scale degree is a half step lower than usual. B flat because that's normal for a G minor scale. C, D, E flat is normal. F, G because the B flat, G is the relative minor of B flat major, so the B flat and E flat are there, and you're going to have that to make it a Phrygian mode instead of G minor. Now, I have a cheat for how I remember Lydian mode because there was a piano professor at Oberlin called Lydia Frumkin. So Phrygian mode, to my mind, it starts with the F sound. So it was always easy for me to wonder, is it Phrygian mode, does that start on the E or does it start on the F? And then I thought, well, Lydia Frumkin, Lydian mode starts on an F. So from F to F, with no sharps or flats, that's Lydian mode. And if you need to transpose it, you can think it's like an F major scale, only the B is natural. So it's a raised fourth scale degree. So if you're transposing it to G, you have G, A, B, C sharp, raised fourth scale degree, D, E, F, G. Hello. D, E, F, G. F sharp G. It's just like a major scale, only difference. So G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp G would be a G major scale, and if you wanted it to be G Lydian, then the fourth scale degree has to be raised, like a C sharp there. Then it's easy to remember Mixolydian because it comes after Lydian. Lydian mode, and that is like a major scale with a lowered seventh scale degree. And let's transpose that to C major. So we'd have C, C, just kidding, D, E, F, G. I wonder where the other G is. That's crazy. A, B flat, A, we can put the A there. Then lowered seventh scale degree, B flat, and C. So that's a C Mixolydian scale. Mixolydian scale starting on C. Aeolian is easy schmeezy because it is like a natural minor. So on C, you just go like a natural minor. C, D, E flat, F, G, F, G, A flat, B flat, C. And then Locrian mode really only gets used in jazz, but we might as well learn it. B to B with no sharps or flats. A very strange little scale. It's like a minor scale with a lowered second and a lowered fifth. So C, D flat, E flat, F, G flat, A, B, C. Correct me if I'm wrong. So B, D, C, D flat, then E flat would be normal, F, G flat, probably A flat, and B flat. The additional lowered seconds and lowered fifth. G flat. Yep. So that's two ways of doing modes. Either, you know, C to C is Ionian, D to D is Dorian, E to E is Phrygian, F to F with no sharps or flats is Lydian, G to G with no sharps or flats is Mixolydian, A to A is Aeolian, and B to B is Locrian. But of course, then how do you decide which mode it is? And some of our hymns are still in the old church modes. We'll look at that. If it starts on a different key, so then it helps to know the pattern of whole steps and half steps, or, you know, it's like this with a such and such and such and such. So I still have to think about it. I mean, there's no, unless you really were composing with modes a lot or studying music with modes a lot, you're going to have to think about it. So if you have to write out the, you know, D to D, here's the whole step and a half step and a whole step and a whole step and a whole step and a half step and a whole step, write that down and, you know, and then look to see or create another scale with that same pattern. You'll be able to figure it out. So that's what I do with modes. And we're losing the light here, so I think that's it for today.